Hey, so before we start the podcast, we wanted to address what was happening in the US and around the world. The current Black Lives Matter protests have gained traction worldwide, and for good reason. For centuries, people of color have been mistreated and oppressed. That is a simple fact. George Floyd's murder at the hands of police is just another example of the mistreatment that Black people have faced in society. There are too many names that have been a victim of these senseless police killings. This year alone, there have been numerous unarmed Black people who have been killed in the US by police. This oppression needs to end. We want to express our support for the protests, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the end of police brutality. If you would like to support the movement, we are going to link to some resources in the description of the YouTube video. It's no longer enough to be not a racist. We need to be anti-racist. You have a voice for a reason. Don't be afraid to use it.
You're listening to The Big League.
A ton of stuff happened last night.
I think the Leafs have to win that one.
This year, Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win Stanley Cup championship.
The Jays would pick up Bumgardner from the Giants.
Whoa. Quite a huge game. He put up 30 points.
You can't suspend him for that. You can look into
I
it
think
as much.
You could. Toronto Raptors raise the banner.
If they get by Boston, do you think they have a legit shot at winning the Stanley Cup this year?
You're listening to The Big League with Aiden Silphant and Connor Somerville.
Hello and welcome to the Big League Podcast. Once again, I am Connor Somerville as always, and I'm joined by Aiden Silphant, and we are continuing our trend or our series, mini-series, whatever we want to call it, and bringing on another sport media student, future sport media professional. And today we are joined by somebody who actually also follows soccer, so hopefully we'll actually have some good soccer discussion. Evan Rootenberg. Evan, how are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here, and we're gonna have a great podcast for sure. You know, we're gonna have some good banter today. I can guarantee it.
How have you been doing? Have you been doing since school ended?
Not bad. I've done nothing. You know, nothing of any importance. Yeah, hanging out. You know, got to hop on Warzone with the boys always, but it's about all you can do right now. You know, it's about all you can do. Play some FIFA maybe. You know, just
a lot of FIFA.
Get mad at the game. You know, and you know. It's FIFA.
That's the only entertainment we got right now. No sports, right?
No.
Gotta get mad at the
Bundesliga.
computer.
We got Bundesliga.
You know what? It's hard to watch that. It's just I'm excited for the Premier League, but the Bundesliga, it's just Bayern's gonna win the league, so I don't know. It's tough. Once Bayern,
you watch it for the North American players because nobody from North America plays in the Prem. You watch it for Davies, for Gio Reyna.
Fonzo. Yeah, there you go. Watch it.
Fonzo's been killing it recently. He's got like 2 goals already.
You know, people want to call him the best left back. He's close. How old is he? He's got to be 19, 20? He can't be older than 20.
No, I think he's younger than us. Or he might be
he's
a little bit older
us.
than me. He's like our age.
Yeah. No, for sure, 19, 20, but that's scary. I'm doing nothing. He's playing in the world's biggest stage, so
I was gonna say, look at where you are and then look at where he is.
I'm just chilling in my room talking to you guys, but I wouldn't be anywhere else, so
Nice.
That's all that's important.
All right, yeah. So of course, with our way we formatted these podcasts, we start off by talking about Evan, and then second half, we will get into the sports stories. So actually talk soccer because some MLS stuff broke today. Basketball, more details about that plan to resume games came out from Wojnarowski and Sams. And we'll talk about a little bit about the Prem because they're coming back fairly soon. And obviously Evan has been made abundantly clear so far is a Premier League fan. So
yep, looking forward to it. I'm hoping Chelsea get the top 4, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe
top five.
Top 5. You know what? Chelsea,
Manchester
United,
City.
Sheffield. Yep. City. Yeah. You know what?
City ain't gonna make it. They're currently banned. So
no one likes them. They don't got fans. Don't worry about them. No one's gonna be devastated if City are City out of the Champions League. So it's okay. No one's gonna be too heartbroken.
Yeah. So Aiden might be a little quiet on this podcast.
I feel like I shouldn't be here. I feel like I don't know soccer, so I'll try and give a little bit of my insight if need be. Let's get going on Evan, I guess.
All right. Yeah. So we'll start off with the quick fire questions, get a little bit of a bio of Evan, as we did last week with Zach. And I thought it was fairly successful, fairly interesting. Then we'll get into a bit more in-depth sport media related stuff. So quick fire. Evan, you ready?
Go.
All right. Age.
19.
Where are you from?
Toronto.
Where'd you grow up?
Toronto.
What high school did you go to?
Into a high school called Thornley.
Thornley. University year.
Thornley. University year. Going into third, so let's say it's summer, so going to third.
All right. Sports you've played competitively.
Soccer. Yeah. Competitively sto
Okay.
I'm a little too short for basketball, but I tried, but I'm 5'6" Jew, so it was a bit tough to make that one. Hard to make that one a full-on career, but yeah, soccer I played pretty high level for a while there.
And
Nice.
who are your teams?
Who are my teams? Okay, so all the Toronto teams. I'm a Toronto boy, born and raised. So we got the Leafs, the Raptors, the Jays when they're good. It's hard to watch the Jays when they stink, but the Jays when they're good, I'll
Agreed.
hop on that bandwagon. 2015 days with Joey Bats, Donaldson, those are the days. Then I'm a Chelsea fan. The TFC, can't forget, of course, for you, Connor. Can't forget all for one TFC. Well, maybe we'll win it again this year. And then I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. In the
Ooh.
NFL.
Oh, of course.
But
Yeah, I
for
forgot
Aiden,
about
of
that.
course, I got the Lions hat for you.
Oh, no way. Out of V. There you go.
I knew
There you
I
go.
had to
Lucky
bring it
Lions
on
hat.
for you. Lions, Matty
Amazing.
Stafford.
That's
they're,
right.
They're on dark horse this year. I like them, healthy
Yeah?
Stafford. But yeah, those are my
Yo,
teams. Sorry.
Everyone's underestimating them, but I'm still optimistic, so we'll see.
too,
They had a
they
good
did.
draft. They had a really good draft.
They did.
All
A
right,
little
we'll
off
get
topic
into-
there, but yeah.
We'll get
Yeah, a
into
little
more on football later because I completely forgot you were a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to get your take on the draft and where the owner, I'm blanking on his name. I'm thinking Jerry West, but it's not Jerry
Jerry Jones.
West.
Jones,
Jerry
yeah.
Jones. That's it. Jerry Jones was stationed for the draft.
Yeah,
Get your
chilling
thoughts
the
on that
yacht.
today.
Yeah, I like to be that rich. You know what?
Yeah.
If I had a yacht, I'd be doing a virtual draft on a yacht too. I mean, it's a pretty power move. Why not if you're Jerry Jones? Why
Yeah.
not?
Hey,
Not
it worked
wrong.
out. It worked out.
It worked out, yeah. Lucky yacht, maybe. Lucky yacht. We'll see this year.
All right. So we'll get back on topic, I guess, sort of. If there's really a topic, this is pretty chill.
Yeah.
Not having this be some hardcore follow the rules or whatever. But I guess we'll start off with how you growing up, because obviously people don't know much about the sport media students because we're still students. We don't have necessarily giant bios on the internet and stuff like that. So what would you say was you were growing up would have been your biggest influence into chasing a sport media career?
I don't know, growing up, I was never like the biggest sleeper, so I'd always wake up like 6, 7 a.m. And the first thing I do always is put on either Jay and Dan or Sportsnet, whichever one didn't have commercial at the time. So it was it was a back and forth flip. I just cared about the highlights. I didn't really when I was 8, 9, 10, I didn't really care about what they were saying. I just cared. How did the Leafs do? Whatever it was. So it's just waking up the highlight shows. So I respect what Jay and Dan do a lot, and I think they're really good at what they do. And then as I got older, I really like Tim and Sid, and I still watch them. I think Tim and Sid really complement each other. So just looking at influences, like those are two guys that I think do a really good job. And yeah, I'd say those kind of personalities, when they're on display for everyone to see, and kind of when they seem knowledgeable, and I think for the most part they have their fun with it, and at the very least they're doing what they love. So I respect that part of the aspect, and I respect that part of the job.
So there you go.
Okay, I was just going to ask, just sort of, this will help with the rest of the interview. What do you actually want to do in the industry? Like what positions do you want to go after?
Yeah, something of speaking. I always kind of grew up thinking I was going to be on TV, but if I was on like radio or TV, but if I was like some kind of analyst, I'd say, or breaking down the games in the mornings, that's something I've always loved. And I guess I was an early bird, put me on in the morning at 3 a.m. whatever, get me in wherever, TSN radio. But yeah, anywhere like that. If I'm on radio, I think radio is a lot of fun, and you kind of have more leeway with what you can say. I think. So if I could, I think radio is where I'd love to start if I could. Yeah.
I think that's kind of what a lot of people in our program are saying too. They've always had that passion to be on air, but they wouldn't mind just doing something in radio or podcasting.
It's funny how that worked out. Yeah, we're all like,
Yeah.
we all have like Caroline Cameron
know,
come
right?
on, and we're like, you know, you guys are like the prestigious, the prestigious group. So no, and anything, even you know, put me on like a boom mic, you know, whatever. I'm good. I
Yes,
just love,
anything.
yeah, I love sports. I'd love to work at the TSN sports. That is, I think we all would.
So, how did you first find out about RTA Sport Media? What was kind of like, I guess, your journey to the program? How did that all start? How did you? I'm curious as to how you first found out about the program.
You know, it's funny. I don't know who. I think it was a year before I had to apply it. I think my mom found out. I think I don't know how she found it before me, but she was like researching, and, you know, as the great mother that she is, and she was just researching, and she's like, "Have you ever seen this program?" And it was like sportsman. Like, I've never seen this before in my life, and kind of it fit the description of who I was and everything that I kind of wanted to do. So, you know, a year later, I applied, got in, and yeah, couldn't be happier. So thanks, Mom. Shout out to Mom for getting me to where I am right now, you know.
What was the application process like for you?
The application process, I guess the same as you guys.
So, like, you found out. So basically, you found out a year before you were to apply to this program that you were interested in it. Is that what Is that what you're saying?
Or not that I was interested. I found out about the program, and I was always interested in sports. So I was like, okay, where could I do university? And I never came across the program until she pointed out, and I'm like, this is, you know, kind of everything I want. So why not go for it? So it was the number one on OCAD, if we remember that fun process, OCAD.
Yep.
Or was it no, not OCAD. OCAD. Yes.
OSAP?
OSAP. Sorry.
OSAP.
OCAD's university.
One of those
yeah.
things.
But anyways, yeah. What was it? Application process. You mean? So what do you mean by that? The application process?
Like interviewing, the little written thing before you did the interview.
Yeah. How'd that interview go?
Yeah, I thought the interview went well, actually. I don't know. I forget who it was. It could have been Laurel Walzak. Shout out to Laurel. If it was you, I forget. It's a while ago now, but yeah, the interview was pretty fun. I couldn't tell you the questions. I have short-term memory. I don't remember what I had for lunch about an hour ago, but yeah, I feel like we just chatted about sports, and my mindset was, you know, don't sweat it. Whatever happens, happens, and, you know, just talk about sports. You know, see what they're about, and kind of get a feel for the program. And I guess she liked me, and, you know, here we are today.
Nice. What did you do during that, like, 1 year, I guess, that you had in between, you know, finding out about the program and applying for it? Did you do anything, you know, that kind of maybe bumped up your chances of getting in? Like, did you do anything on the side, I guess?
No, I was gonna say get my grades up. That was that was the first thing. I was not the best student.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Get those grade 12. Yeah, those grade 12 credits. You know, you gotta take like the food and nutrition courses, all those stuff. But I don't think I really did anything sport media related to kind of get in, but I did have experience with like public speaking and stuff like that. Growing up, I had IBD, which is inflammatory bowel disease. So it's kind of a spokesperson for the organization. I guess I was, you know, the cute face, I guess, whatever they wanted as a 10-year-old. They just wanted, you know, a pretty face. But so I had to kind of just public speaking practice, I guess, when I was younger. And then I guess I kind of translated into the program and maybe what they were looking for. And I don't think it hurt my chances of getting into the program. But nothing really, you know, within sport media. But yeah,
for sure. That's a cool story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with, I guess, all that public speaking, you obviously had practice.
Yeah.
Do you think that helped prepare you for the interviews, and do you think that helped your chances of getting in, or do you think that was just something that was a little boost to your marks, whether or not, I don't know how good they were, but
yeah, they weren't bad. They're okay. You know, how to get them up though, how to get those, you know, 80s and 90s. But yeah, on your question, I think it did help because actually when I was really young, I was a shy person. I didn't really talk. You know, I was, you know, kind of in my shell. So that kind of helped me get out of my shell. And then after that point, you know, yeah, I couldn't stop talking. So I think of course it helped me just to get out of my shell and just to be, you know, more of an open person, you know, more to be more outgoing, I think is the perfect word. So I think for sure that experience did help me, and getting that push again from my mother really did help. And yeah, I think that's why I kind of want to have like a talking role in sports media, because it's all I love to do, chat with you guys. We'll have a good debate later. And yeah, I think for sure, going back to your question, it did help a lot, because without that experience, I don't think I'd be where I am today.
Nice. So I guess, after that application process and getting into the program, you're kind of hyped up, you're really excited to see what this sport media program is all about now. So what have your thoughts been so far on the program? What have you liked? Is there anything that you haven't liked, haven't been that hasn't reached your expectation, I guess? Or I guess just what have you liked about the program? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think the majority of the classes are good. The ones that are like not electives are the ones that are, they kind of, we get to choose and kind of we get to explore, our path and kind of what we want to do. I think is very helpful. And most classes are very good. Except for like BNN, or not BNN, the business class, BSM.
Yeah,
just, that was kind of, something we didn't want to do. And now we got it again coming up next year. But, for the most part, the fact that we get like in studio, it's really hands-on. And it's kind of a virtual experience, as close as it could get, without having to actually go out and, apply somewhere. We're there, we're in the hub, we're in the center, and we have a lot of opportunities to really learn about the industry and learn about the kind of the ins and outs of the profession.
So I guess outside of class, a few people have done stuff outside of classes and related to the sport media field. Have you done anything like that? Do you have any experiences like that?
Yeah, just with Ryerson, you got to take advantage of the tuition we're paying. So, Rams Live, some Spirit Live, which is what you guys are doing. I'm happy to see that you guys are still doing in the summer, even in quarantine. So I respect that. I respect the grind. But I guess Rams Live is one of the best things that we could do at Ryerson, and one of the best things that they do offer, because it is even more than our classroom. It is as simulated as possible, and you get that hands-on, make a mistake, doesn't matter. And or I don't want to say doesn't matter, but you get to learn from your mistakes. And I think having that opportunity is a blessing, because you really wouldn't find it anywhere else. So yeah, good on Ryerson for having it. Number one school in the country. Yeah. And without any bias aside, though, I think Rams Live is one of the best things they do offer, and that experience is vital to our career, our future careers. Let's say that.
What's been your favorite role when you've been doing Rams Live? Are you more of that on air? Have you done any of that play-by-play, or are you more in the control room?
For the most part, I'd be in the control room. Play-by-play scares me. I think at the third or fourth year, I'll work up the nerve to do it. Play-by-play is tough, because you got to be on the ball.
Yeah, you got to know all the players.
You got to know all the players from both sides. You don't have to know just right. It's not professional, so you've probably never seen anyone from Laurentian or Algoma universities to actually like know the players. And it's like when you're playing Fortnite, you got to like switch guns to like whichever one you want. It's like you got to make sure you see the whole court, and every play, or the play-by-play. You have to know each player, where the ball's going, and see. It's fast, it's quick fire, and it's tough. So I'm gonna end up doing it, once I work up the courage. But yeah, for the most part, I'd be in the control room, just doing my thing, learning from the pros.
What role specifically have you done?
Done some highlights, some audio, or not highlight, replay. It's the same thing, I guess. The camera once. I don't know how I got tricked into doing camera, but those things are heavy.
Have you done the handheld?
When you're or when you're on the basketball court and you're sitting there.
That is hell. That is
again,
not fun.
I'm like 5'6". I'm not like the buffest in the world, so it's like that's a tough job. Yeah. So yeah, tough. Camera's
heavier than us.
I don't recommend.
Don't know about that
camera.
one.
Oh no, it's a workout. It's a workout. I'll say that. It's a workout.
What would be your recommendation for someone who's never done Spirit Live before? Like, what role do you think would be a great starting role for them?
You mean Rams Live?
Rams Live. Sorry, not Spirit Live.
Rams Live. I started out on a replay, so I'd say replay. Replay is not too hard, and someone's got to do it. So why not you? Do replay, kids. Do replay.
All right.
It's fun. You'll learn something, and it's not too much pressure. So
Evan Rootenberg 2020.
yeah, code it.
So what has been your favorite class so far? Has it been the TV labs, or has it been one of your electives like beyond the radio format, which we took together?
We all took that one together. Yeah. What's the one we took last year? And was that Beyond the Radio? We had a great radio idea.
Radio broadcasting.
If anyone's listening, if any TSN Sportsnet radio, we had a great idea called the Athlete 888. Where we can pitch it to you. We pitched it to Lori Beckstead. Shout out to Lori, great prof. And
it's a great idea. Seriously, it could be on the radio tomorrow.
Yeah, we had a bomb. We had an absolute fire idea, and it got selected, of course, because it was a great idea. And so 88th Aid. If anyone wants to know more about it, call me or Aiden. And Connor, if you want to get on too, don't worry, plenty of money there, plenty of the cut. But sorry, coming back, I keep going off topic. You asked me a question, and then I kind of just drift off. But the TV labs have been really good. I think those are really good classes to take because just like Rams Live. I was trying to say Sphere Live, just like Rams Live, it is we're learning a lot about the industry, and that's what we're paying a lot of money for. So it's good that we're getting our money's worth with the TV labs. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. We're getting our money's worth for sure. Hopefully, that experience doesn't really get taken away too much if we go online next semester. But no, glad you're liking those classes though.
Yeah. I hope you guys are too. It's not just about me.
Oh yeah, we are. Yeah, we got to do our own interviews, Connor, on ourselves.
That'll be hysterical. We got to get somebody else on though. Somebody that looks like us.
Somebody that looks like find some doppelgangers.
That'd be so funny. That'd be so funny. But yeah, I guess you mentioned you did Spirit Live. I think you mentioned that, correct?
Yeah, Spirit Live. Yep.
What did you do for Spirit Live? When did you do it, and who did you do it with?
Yeah, so we just did a podcast with a Spirit Live. Me and one of my high school buddies, who I told about the program. He didn't find out about it till I told him. So lucky Matty Choi. But so we started a podcast this year, 5-5 Sports, because that was my height when we started it, and
oh, that's why it's called that 5-5.
Yeah, that's why it's called it. We played it off as we talk about 5 sports.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, the inside joke is my height at the time was 5'5". Now it's 5'6".
That's pretty good.
Right now it's
you got to change.
We're moving up in the world. We're moving up 5'6" sports. We could, but so that's what we did. We started a podcast this year. If anyone wants to check it out, we got cut off with the COVID-19 virus, so that wasn't fun. But we'll be back again next year, hopefully. And that's my story with Spirit Live. Yeah, we got 5 episodes.
You're not doing anything right now. There's no reason you can't be doing a podcast.
There's no reason. I gotta get a mic. I gotta buy one from Amazon.
This sounds good enough.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah, there's some good deals. Definitely check that out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Your recommendation. Send me the recommendation, the best one.
This one's pretty good. I just got it recently, so I'll send you the link for sure.
There you go.
So mine's decent. It's very, very cheap.
Hey.
It's very, very good quality too.
Now
it's okay.
A good deal.
It's okay at best.
Come on, gotta be a pro out here. Come on.
But I guess what other questions do we have about his academic and sport media career? Because obviously with Zach last time we could talk ENHL a little bit, but obviously
fun.
You haven't done that.
Yeah, the boys are doing a good job with the virtual hockey. Loving the content. If anyone hasn't checked it out and they heard Zach's podcast last week and they still haven't checked it out, it's a crime. Go check it out. Good stuff. They're doing good stuff. Zach, I think. Who else on there? Thomas.
Who won? Who made it to the final? Because I think.
Is it the semi? No, semi's.
I don't think it's over yet.
I think
Tampa is doing well. I know Tampa's doing well.
I know Tampa was up on Pittsburgh in the series 3-2, but the game was last night. And then
there was Pittsburgh, Tampa, right? Boston lost to Tampa. Pittsburgh, Tampa.
Let's take a look.
And Nashville's playing Calgary.
I don't think they posted any update. Yeah, Nashville's playing Calgary.
Yeah.
And
tonight, Tampa, Calgary.
Yeah,
that was yesterday. So we might have a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, inside a weird day yesterday with the blackout, so I don't think there's much content posted on Insta.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting time we have right now. COVID-19 and the Black
Yeah.
Lives Matter movement.
Is there anything you'd want to touch on that subject since you brought it up?
I mean, I'm not much for politics because
Yeah.
I think politics is a bit crazy, and it's not all true what you see on TV. So, but what I will say it's a huge problem, and people aren't stupid. I mean, we all know what's going on in America, and if they would just, the problem is a precedent set for them to get away with what they want the police officers, and the third degree murder charge is ridiculous.
It just got up to a second degree today, by the way. Yeah,
it should be a first degree.
Yeah,
but,
it should be.
I mean, you can't sit on the guy's neck for 9 minutes and tell me that was an accident. I mean, if we want to use our big brains over here, we all know that. I think, and just the problem is it keeps happening. So if they've got to change the law, you kill someone as first degree murder, and everyone's equal on this planet. You gotta earn everything, and the problem is we've set it up that's harder for the African American population to succeed. Yeah. So that's not right. And the way you fix it is just changing the law, but it seems like that's not going to happen for a long time. So we're going to keep having these movements. I guess we're going to keep doing the marches. We're going to keep promoting equal rights, and until then, it's, I guess, what we can do. Mm-hmm. We got to do what we got to do to make sure the world's a better place.
Yep, definitely.
Vote it again.
I don't know. I guess summary: racism is bad. Police brutality is bad. People shouldn't be killed by police, especially unarmed. And
I think we just need consequence, right? It's common sense, right? We're in sports media, but everyone knows it's common sense. Murder is murder, first degree, and I think it's an outrage that. I think he will, because I think it's hard for him to escape first degree murder the way this blew up in that guy's face. I'm not sure about the officer's name, but
Derek Chauvin.
That's correct, Derek Chauvin. So yeah, I think he's screwed. I think he's gonna spend the rest of his life behind bars, and as he should.
We hope.
We can only hope. As
being issues with that and getting convictions in these sort of cases.
We'll see. Time will tell. Anyways, time will tell.
Yeah, it's a tough conversation, but a necessary conversation.
That's true.
We mentioned it off the top before we had Evan join us.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys said about it, because I'm sure there was some good stuff spoken about that. So I'll look forward to hearing that, as should everyone else listening.
Yeah.
Listen.
Is there anything else we want to hit in terms of Evan, Aiden?
I've been thinking of questions like, I was going to ask what sport he likes covering the most, but I would think it's soccer, unless football kind of gets in there a little bit.
Yeah, I grew up on soccer, so I would say soccer is number one. But yeah, football's a close second. I love everything about football. You could lose so much money on football so quickly. There's just there's no greater thrill than football. Despite the 100 commercials per game, just every play matters so much. And just from fantasy football, you got your your survivor pools. There's just every Sunday during football season, I'm sitting in front of the TV watching football, because it's just the way they market it. It's genius. One day a week, sit down, watch a bunch of grown men just try to kill each other. Great idea for a sport, great entertainment, and I love it. I love football.
Here, one more personal question, I guess. Well, I guess it's kind of personal. Not really, but fantasy football you touched on.
Yeah.
If you had the first pick in your draft, who are you taking?
This year, you gotta say McCaffrey.
McCaffrey, yeah.
They got an improved QB, and he's a special player. But it feels like the best player changes every year. So it's a lot about luck. It's all about working the waiver wire market. Because I feel like most of your team ends up being from the waiver wire somehow, anyways.
Yeah.
Just
injuries.
By injuries. Yeah, shit happens, right, in football. So, it's gonna be tough this year. I won my league my first year, and I haven't won since. So I'm trying to get back on winning terms. So we'll try again this year. We go again. So if I get number one, I'll take McCaffrey. But Saquon's a good second choice. I think Saquon would be a good shout, and if anything, Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry.
Derrick
So
Henry, yeah.
if he's still
And
available,
all of the people in your league's plans have now changed, and you know exactly how you're going to draft.
yeah. Well, I think the top.
I think
three
that's
is pretty,
it's pretty set in stone. Running back, you can't really go wrong. So
I was going to take the Broncos defense in the first round. If anyone
What?
from my league's listening, Broncos defense, sleeper pick. I was taking Justin Tucker first round this year, guys. Come on,
And
Take him
Dolphins
off
kicker.
Yep.
One of the two.
Oh, I was thinking about Andy Dalton too in my second round. I think
Andy
he's gonna
Dalton,
have a
yeah.
breakout year, maybe.
Honestly-
Prescott's gonna hold out, and Dalton's gonna be the number one QB.
I was going to say that may not be that bad a pick right now.
No, as we're talking about, I got the Broncos. The Broncos thought just one of my buddies. He joined, I think, 2 years ago for the first time, and his third round pick, I don't know, it's like the Broncos D, and he knew nothing about football. It's like one of those picks. I'm like, dude, come on, do some mock drafts, just learn where the guys go. So yeah, I'll never forget. One of my buddies took the Broncos defense in the third or fourth round. A little bit of a reach, but he didn't win the league. He didn't make the playoffs, so I think he learned
What
his
a
lesson.
surprise.
Yeah.
Didn't learn his lesson.
Oh, that's fantasy for you.
Yeah, got to make every pick count.
All right, I guess that's sort of the section about Evan. After a quick break on our end, and for you, it'll be half a second. We will get into the other sports news because there's a ton of basketball news. Connor McDavid just issued a statement, so maybe we'll get into that a little bit. Finally, Crosby issued a statement today, so maybe we'll touch a little bit on that, but we sort of hit that aspect of things already. MLS stuff happened today, and we'll get into the Prem, so we'll be right back. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the first section with Evan, where we just got into who he is a bit, talked about his future aspirations and his experiences at Ryerson Sport Media Program. But now is for the probably more fun, more entertaining, maybe, more animated, for sure, portion of the podcast, where we're just going to talk about the current sport news that's going on. I guess we'll start with baseball because that's sort of developing as we're recording, really. Frankly, every sport is, with MLS doing the same. But MLB, Aiden, you want to walk us through a bit what's happening? Because it is very, very confusing.
Yeah, so it seemed like yesterday or a couple of days ago, they came out with an agreement, both the players and the owners and the league. It seemed like they were going to come to a agreement about how many games that they were going to play next season. It came out this morning that the players rejected the 114 game proposal. MLB season is normally 162 games, so it's obviously going to be shorter, but it will not be 114 games. What the players did agree on was that the format of the season and how they're going to be doing the standings and the divisions is going to be changed. So we're going to be seeing 3 divisions. We're going to combine the American League East, the National League East, then the Centrals and the West will also be combined as well. So 3 divisions. I believe it's 10 teams, around 10 teams in each division. So, I mean, there's going to be some powerhouse divisions. We're still not 100% sure on what they're going to be doing with playoffs, if there's how many teams are going to make it, etc. But it does seem like the MLB wants their teams to still play in their home ballparks with no fans. The question is, can the Jays do that? Because of, Canada right now, we're not opening our borders because of COVID-19. So we're going to have to wait on that. The Blue Jays might have to play somewhere else. A rumor is that they could just play in their spring training facility in Dunedin, Florida. So that's possible. But like I said, no fans as well. And then I guess just going back to the amount of games, like I said, 114 games is a no for next season. But there is a possibility that there could be 82 games, which is just over half of what a regular MLB season would look like. or they could go as low as 50 games. 50 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
How would they do that?
That's 50 games.
They would just, I mean, like, it would be a shorter season. You wouldn't be playing every single day, obviously. I would probably think, it'll be every other day, but maybe even once every 3 days to just limit the amount of times you're going to the ballpark, I guess, and being in contact with everybody. I think 50 would be the safest way to do it. But 50 games. Like, can you really
think...
award a World Series champion or I don't know, 50 game season?
Yeah.
That's like a AAA.
That's a stretch.
Or a house league season, including tournaments. I don't really know if you could do that. You might as well just cancel the season at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, baseball has a lot of leeway because baseball goes on. When is the season would start? I keep forgetting. Like, baseball always starts early. Like, it's February, then all of a sudden spring training, and we're now in like I keep forgetting. Now we're in what, June?
June 3rd.
Yeah, June 3rd.
Yep.
Yeah. So the season would have been like, I keep forgetting that
baseball season ends in October. Or like late October, and then it starts in like late March, early April.
I think they could get away with 100 plus games. They could get away with it because you do your accommodations right. It's just a team, right? So as long as the team is safe and healthy, they could travel to the ballparks, play a 4-game series. I think they could limit the destinations because if there's no fans anyways. I think you make like five cities. I don't know why that would be so difficult.
I'm actually really surprised that the MLB is still considering just playing in their home ballparks. I just think that's like you said, way too much travel.
Baseball has a major advantage because without the crowd, I mean, there's no advantage to playing in any park because the dimensions are different. So you could really, make 5-6 parks and rural. So I think baseball is really, I don't know why they're struggling a lot with the format because playing empty stadiums. But baseball, I think, has an odd one because of just the timing. It's kind of interrupted baseball season, COVID-19. So, they could end up not having a season. But I think no matter what, even if they do end up playing 50 games, I mean, I think no matter what, they're going to try to do something. And, whether there's an asterisk or not, I mean, there will be 50. But
definitely. I think no matter what, I think there will be some sort of asterisk, even though, like, if you look at the NHL, what they're doing, like, I don't think there should be an asterisk on their season, but there will be.
I mean, it's not to say whoever wins doesn't deserve to win because they do, because you have to play the game to get a win. But obviously, it's there should be an asterisk, not because they deserve it, but because it's just the way the season went. It got canceled for 2-3 months. It was a big delay, so everything's off kilter now. Everything's the players don't have the same routine. They don't have the same kind of mentality going into every game. Now it's like basically a preseason when they come back, but we're going to be thrown into crucial games. Whether they're fighting for the playoffs, some teams depending on how they do it. If it's the NBA or the NHL, I think the NHL is going straight into the playoffs, right? Is that what they said? They would.
Yeah.
So I mean, there has to be an asterisk because you don't have the same kind of warm up. I'm not saying the winner isn't deserved, but of course there's an asterisk because it's not the norm. So if it would have been a normal regular year without COVID-19, without all this crap going on, then there won't be an asterisk, obviously. But because of circumstances change. Whoever wins is still going to get they're going to get the trophy. They're going to whatever it is, the Larry O'Brien, the Stanley Cup. They're still going to get it, but there's going to be a little star. 2020 COVID-19, and we move on. People, will be salty on social media, try to, use that as an excuse. But whoever wins, good for them. If the Leafs win, the Leafs win. They're not, but,
God.
kids can dream.
Let me pose this question to you.
Yeah.
Do you think that it is easier or more difficult to win in these new formats?
I think depends on the team. If the NHL, if you have a bye week, I think it's going to be harder for teams that have a bye week because they really are going to be short on game. At least the teams that don't have a bye week are going to be, they're going to have some warm-up of, at least 4 competitive games. Probably more because hockey's pretty back and forth. So, I mean, they have an advantage. The teams that don't have a bye, I think the teams that have a bye are screwed because they're going to really be coming in cold. So, in
hockey, what they're doing is they're doing the play-in tournament. But at the same time, they're doing a little round-robin thing to decide the first 4.
There's no, but don't the top seeds get a bye, or am I mistaken?
No.
There's no
So they
bye,
play a
No.
round robin. So
So there's
I
the
think
4 teams in the East, which is like Boston, Tampa, Philadelphia, and
I think what
Washington?
Evan's trying to say is that, like, the teams that are going to be playing in that play-in round are going to be playing, I mean, I guess more competitively. Like, they have a lot more on the line than the other teams who are just playing in the round robin, who are already guaranteed a top 4 spot.
okay. So I completely misunderstood the format. So is it? So like the teams like the Leafs and like Columbus, so they're playing each other. So are they playing to get into the playoffs, to get
Yeah.
into the final 8, and then the final? Okay, yeah, but the teams with the play-in still have the advantage because I'm not really a buy, but the top teams don't have to play the play-in tournament, so they're sitting and waiting for
they're playing
the
a
round
separate
robin.
round robin.
They're playing a
to-
separate round robin. To
They're
determine the top
they're
seeds.
competing. Yeah, they're competing for the 4 top.
I didn't read that. So okay,
It's very
that's,
confusing.
I
Nobody
think
blames you.
I think going back
Yeah.
going back to your question,
I
Connor,
understand it now. Okay, we're good.
I think it's just going to be hard no matter what, because there's just so many different circumstances now dealing with a pandemic, and then also you have to win 5 rounds. Basically, most teams will have to win 5 rounds in order to win the Stanley Cup. I don't care if that's only a 3-game series, or a 5-game series, best out of 5. My bad, first to 3.
First to 3, yeah.
But you still have to win 5 series. You have to beat 5 teams. That's harder to me.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you're going to probably be away from your loved ones. You're going to be isolated. You're just trying to stay safe on the ice. I still don't know how they're going to do it, to be honest, but
I mean, anyone said that
it's going to be harder.
Yeah, to me, anyone says there just isn't going to be an asterisk I think it's just crazy because there's so many different X factors that kind of are going into these playoffs, and I think the preparation is going to be completely different, and it's going to be tough for teams to deal with it. And someone's going to win, someone has to win, but it's not the normal. So I think you have to put an asterisk, not on the winner, not on the team, but just on the season, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's not a criticism on the team for winning. It's just
for sure.
It's the way the season went, and everyone's dealing with it. So, I mean, you gotta deal with the cards that you're dealt.
The way that I've sort of looked at this entire situation is, I've looked at it as though it were a lockout season, or a lockout shortened season. So I look at it as though it was 2013, 2012, 2013. There isn't really an asterisk next to the Chicago Blackhawks Cup win.
Yeah, maybe there should. Maybe
there should be. And I think that's where that conversation begins. And I think that's where the conversation about this whole, is there an asterisk because the playoffs are different? Yeah, it's fair, but they also played more games in the regular season than they did in the lockout shortened years. So I don't know. I'm really torn on that. And I've talked to people like you guys who are of my opinion, and I've talked to people who are of the other opinion as well. And I think it's very interesting to see how fans and how the teams are going to treat these championships. I think the teams, especially the winning team, will look at it as though this is a legit win. But I think that other fans will make it feel as though this were less of a win, and use it sort of make fun of.
Yeah, they want to feel better about the fact that their team sucks, and it's like the Raptors. People are trying to put a asterisk on the Raptors, and I'm like, okay. I mean, first of all, I don't care that Golden State wasn't healthy. Philadelphia is a good team. Orlando was out of the top 4 seeds in the East.
They were trash.
Orlando's trash, but compared to the other, bottom 4.
And the Bucks, the Bucks are the Bucks.
Yeah, and the Bucks. Yeah. So, how are you putting an asterisk on that? I'm sorry that Durant was injured. It's not our fault.
Durant and Boogie.
And not even Boogie.
And we almost beat them in 5 games too.
Yeah, we could have beat them in 5 games. We almost swept them. The only game they won was game 2 when they won a 20-0 run. The Raptors just fell asleep, and I mean. It happens. The Raptors won. It could have been 4. Happened in 6. We still have a Larry O'Brien trophy sitting in the ACC. So suck on that, any other fan that's not the Raptors fan. Go Raptors.
All right, yeah. So I guess we're talking
about NBA.
Yeah, we're talking about NBA. Sam Sramia and Adrian Wojnarowski. They're just so good. There's no other way to put it. They're the peak of insiders in basketball.
Do they sleep?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
It's insane.
But
I always questioned, like, do they actually get, like, they can't get more than 5 hours a night. I refuse to believe they're just on their phones so much, and it's just they're wired. I don't know. They gotta be on the phone just the whole day. Like, I don't
A
know how
lot
they
of
have like
caffeine. That's what it
how,
is. A
like
lot of caffeine.
how do you have a family life doing that? Like, I feel like every third second, like you could be getting a call from someone to break news. Yeah, tough business. I respect Raj and Shams a lot. They're two tough characters in the NBA. But anyway, sorry, a little off topic. But
All right. Well, they reported today a bit about the tournament or the restart tournament. So I guess we'll run through each of the different aspects of it, and then we'll look back at each section. So the NSO Restart Tournament would feature 22 teams in Orlando. Each team would play 8 regular season games to determine the seedings, because I believe it's going to be 1 to 16. So it'll be league-wide as opposed to conference-wide, which is really cool. It'll help teams get back up to speed, and it'll allow smaller markets in the playoffs and on the edge or on the brink to actually hit their TV quotas with their TV rights deals. So the way that they're doing all of this is, if the 9th seed is 4 or more games back of the 8th seed, the 8th seed earns the playoff spot. If the 9th seed is fewer than 4 or fewer games behind the play-in, there's single elimination for the 9th seed and double elimination for the 8th.
That's crazy.
I heard rumblings a few days ago where it's gonna be like the best 16 records, but I guess that changed today.
It was under consideration, but they ended up scrapping the automatic 1 to 16 and expanded, I believe. Was the other one they scrapped.
I mean, I think that would have been a pretty simple idea, put the East and the West best, because I feel like that'd be more fair, because the East always stinks, right? So
you'll see why they did it in a second. Let me keep going.
So you keep going.
So the draft lottery and combine are expected to be in August, which will be after the season's finished. They're aiming for a July 31st season resumption. Again, that's still up in the air, but they're hoping to do the draft lottery and the combine at some point in August. The players will be unable to shower in the arena, and they would need to do so in their respective hotels, which will limit potential spread. Bench players would sit in spread out rows, and inactive players would sit in the stands. So very similar to what the Bundesliga is doing right now. If you're paying attention to that, the bench players are like 5-6 seats away from each other, or I think it's like 10 seats away from each other, something like that.
Whatever it was.
The rows, and then behind them, it's in between the middles. So it's staggered, if that makes sense.
I think we should touch upon that really quick. I mean, how does dividing the bench players? I mean, okay,
it limits them breathing on each other.
But I mean, think about how the players are basically like touching each other. They're running on the same field, breathing the same air. It's like I get it. So I think it's all like for the aesthetic. So you see on social media, look, they're social distance. But it's like in reality, if you're playing sports, you can't social distance. It's impossible.
It does limit the risk, though.
It limits the risk for like a little bit, but I mean,
well, you have to look at it as though if an inactive player is sitting on the bench, he's not playing, and somehow he has it, you're now eliminating the risk of him potentially giving it to starters or bench players who are actually playing, right?
I mean,
you're limiting the potential for it to blow up in your little hub area they'll have in Orlando, and they're limiting the potential for people to get infected and the potential spread. And it also is very beneficial to their public perception, because it's showing that they're making an impact at trying to keep people apart and trying to keep people healthy and safe.
It's a strange disease, but I mean, they're all in tip-top shape. So I mean, you just hope no one gets it and the worst happens. I think that's, as long as no one suffers the worst, like we've seen, unfortunately, across the globe, then we'll just be happy to have sports back. I think that's the bottom line. So I think everyone's trying to push it, because obviously it's a huge market to get it done, and there's a lot of money involved. It's a tough disease, because no one really knows the whole truth behind it. No one does. So it's a guessing game. So I think they're just doing their best, and I respect it. I think the NBA is doing they're taking a lot of the right steps, I think, to kind of limit the transmission between people. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully we get some basketball soon because I miss it.
So what's also they're doing is you're allowed to bring your family members. I can't remember the exact specifics. Like you're allowed to bring close family members, so like your kids and your wife and girlfriend, things like that. Maybe like a brother and sister if you don't have a partner or anything like that. So they're allowing that to happen, but those people, those guests, will not be allowed in the stadiums until the playoffs. So the 8 regular season games will be empty. Those will play-in things as well will be empty, and then they'll allow guests for the playoffs. Here is why the NBA is doing this like this. The teams that will be making the playoffs that aren't actually in the playoffs: Portland, Phoenix, Sacramento, and San Antonio. In the West, Washington. But I didn't mention one team in the West. This is a very notable one.
Pelicans.
New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
They're getting Zion in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're getting Zion in the play-in tournament in the regular season games so that they can have people watch. People will watch because of Zion.
Yeah, but they'll watch for all the superstars. I mean, it's a superstar league.
But Zion is like on another level, right? That's one of the biggest reasons.
I don't even know, man. It's like he's a
really
rookie.
That's the reason why they're doing it.
Like he's a rookie. It's like so Zion plays against some scrubs on Sacramento. But Sacramento's a good team. Like Buddy Hield. They got one of the Bogdanoviches. They have good players, and
it gets Portland in, which is Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum.
So exactly,
it gets Phoenix in, who's Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. Aldridge and DeRozan get in.
Yeah. So I mean, there's
Bradley
good players
Beal,
across the
we'll
West.
that one.
Bradley Beal. Hey, I like Bradley Beal. Come on, don't hate on Bradley.
But again, it's more TV, more viewership, more teams that are involved to potentially meet their media quotas. It's more potential revenue for the league. It's allowing the players to play and have a chance at making the playoffs because they realistically were close. Because if you're within 4 games, it's not unrealistic that you could catch up in the time frame left in the season. So it's limiting that. And basically I'll summarize this really quickly and then we'll jump into the specifics of each section. Adrian Wojnarowski basically said it, I thought, best in a tweet. He said, so the NBA is inviting 22 teams to Orlando, 13 Western Conference, 9 Eastern Conference, 8 regular season games per team, playing for the 8th seed, July 31st to October 12th. There's a vote tomorrow to ratify it. The NBA is back. So tomorrow the vote will happen. They'll decide on whether or not this tournament will go ahead, which I'd be shocked if it doesn't.
Just not go ahead.
The players will be isolated in Orlando, which I believe I think they're doing at Disney World.
Yep.
Maybe.
That's like, how are they going to play that many games in Disney World?
They're going to build stadiums. So
did
you watch The Last Dance?
They're just going to build stadium.
Do you watch The Last Dance?
Yeah. What about it?
You know how MJ, they basically built a court for him?
Yeah.
They could feasibly do that.
They could.
And there are other courts in Orlando that are feasible to use. I'm sure they have a university or a college that they can use.
They got of course.
They've got the Magic Stadium.
That's weird because
they got a lot there.
I think the one thing you mentioned earlier is how they can let family and there's gonna be some weird crowd cheers. Are they gonna be silent the whole time? Or are they gonna be cheering when if someone's it's someone's kid gonna cheer when if Kyle Lowry brings the kid, right? It's we're gonna see little Kyle Lowry Jr. Just chanting for his father when he puts in a 3. How's it gonna
possibly
work? Or Freddie's 1-year-old.
Look, this is all still.
I don't know how they're doing it.
We don't know if this is going to happen yet, which is the most notable portion of this thing. It's still to be ratified tomorrow, and all the details aren't out there yet. We don't know exactly what their plan is for housing, for testing, for all of that other stuff. This is just initial plan.
Equipment. What are they going to be wearing?
Yeah,
I don't think they can be staying wearing those uniforms with their arms exposed, legs exposed, face exposed. They got.
They're all gonna wear hoodies, Aiden. They're gonna wear hoodies and sweatpants and little toques. They're gonna wear little toques.
Honestly, there might be something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. If there's
I
like a
don't
hoodie.
think-
Maybe you can get them with arm sleeves, right? Like they probably make arm sleeves, so some of them do wear like.
I don't
leg
think they'll
sleeves
limit
even.
anything like that. I think it'll be you're in your regular uniforms.
Yeah.
There's going to be a absolute ton of testing.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Yeah.
even want to imagine how many tests are going to have to be done on every single person there,
Oh man.
which is going to be a nightmare.
Players are gonna love that.
Players want to play, right?
Yeah.
They want to earn their money. Like
Yeah.
it's as simple as that.
Man, they're short on money. Some of these NBA players are not making enough, so we gotta make sure they.
All right,
gotta make sure they get their payday.
Let's run through each thing specifically very quickly, and then we'll
Yeah.
get into the soccer, which if you didn't hear Aiden's voice enough, hopefully you hear it now because the next portion might have him being a little quiet, even though
Maybe.
I clearly haven't influenced you enough to pay attention to soccer yet. I'm still working on that,
You know what?
people.
I that MLS multiplex thing. I think
Yep.
I watched or I listened to like maybe the first 2 minutes of it, and then I got bored. I got too bored. But I'm gonna try. I'm making progress
All right.
on it. I'm making
You know what?
progress.
I can understand why. I think a lot of North Americans don't, because I know, Connie, you're Irish, right? Your background's
Bruh, I am
Irish?
attacked. I'm Scottish.
Scottish.
You
Oh.
evil human being.
Evil.
Evil.
Some Brexit
I am
country I knew,
offended.
but
I'm offended.
anyways, my father grew up in South Africa, so I think you have to be born in that part of the world to really pick. Because I feel like a lot of North Americans just find it slow, and the problem is the MLS just isn't the same as the Premier League. I didn't start watching the MLS. I started watching the Prem, and when you
I
start,
just think like growing up, I like never watched
Yeah,
soccer. Like my
so-
house is just always hockey, baseball, football.
like these
That's it.
Europeans, like they just grow up. It's what they grow up on. It's their livelihood, and like their fandom is like so much stronger than what we have in the NBA and the NHL. Like they would die. They would give up an organ to see their team like win a trophy. Like they would give up their kidneys and they would give up their brain to see their
And
team
we'll
win.
we'll get into that in a second
Yes.
because I do have a couple questions I want to ask you about the Prem.
Yes, but
But I guess, do we want to wrap up the basketball? Do we want to run through everything, or do you think we've covered it enough? We're still waiting for more information, so.
We'll give Aiden the call on that one? But yeah,
I
guess we gotta wait out.
Well, I think we're okay. I think we
Think
can
we're
move
good?
on. I think yeah.
All right.
I don't know how much longer we have on this call, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We might have to do his third one, depending on how long this takes.
All right.
See, we got nothing
this-
but time, so no worries.
Yeah, this MLS stuff is a little complicated.
Yeah. So you gotta tell me what's going on.
I
'cause I'm
only
not
see
caught up
3
on the
notes here.
MLS.
I think I'm good. I got it. Only 3 notes here. I know it.
Yeah.
You see,
Alright.
just wait, buddy. Just wait. Please just wait. Oh my
fucking
God.
wait.
It's.
All right,
I've read like 2 articles and I've followed this hardcore and I still don't understand everything.
Okay.
So let's start with the
Christ.
Prem because this is obviously something you're more passionate about, and
Start with the Prem.
we can transition the Prem a lot easier than we could transition MLS, depending on how much time we have left on this call.
Yeah, we'll see.
So-
we'll see.
Obviously, the Prem announced that they'll be resuming soon. I
Yeah.
believe in
17.
early-
June 17 today.
June 17th.
That's
So
what they said. Yep.
2 weeks today, they'll be resuming. Couple questions I have for you. First of all, do you think this is feasible, considering somebody tested positive today?
Yeah, someone on Spurs, right? We don't know who, but someone
Tottenham.
on Spurs. Yeah. Yeah, it's feasible. I mean, there's been a few, positive tests over the last. How long has it been since they kind of said they were going to resume? A week and a half now, 2 weeks. So yeah, I think someone from Bournemouth had it. A few guys from Bournemouth. Yeah, I don't know. There's been a few like bottom tier clubs I think that have said that they've tested positive. Now Spurs have one player. I mean, they're going to go ahead anyways. The Premier League. We've seen what the Premier League kind of. They border the line of right and wrong quite often, as we know. So the Premier League, they're going to resume June 17. I can't see why they wouldn't. And everyone's gassed for the league. Everyone's just happy to see it back. And I don't know. I think the Premier League is going to make some strange kind of rule where I saw. I think it was like a month ago or a month and a half where they said they're gonna have to look away when they're tackling or something, or they're gonna have to like cover their. I don't know what they said.
I
but
heard
the-
about this too. You had to move your face when you were
Yeah,
tackling
or it's like
somebody.
a yellow card. Like the FA is going to strongly advise. I'm like, okay, like you have
I
to
think
let
they scrapped that though because that's not
Yeah.
feasibly possible.
It's like that's not
Um,
even. That's just idiotic, to be honest. Like I don't know how you ask the players to do that. Like you have to let them play. It's going to be empty crowds, but no fans. But no, the Premier League is going to find a way to do it because they always do. It's a Prem. There's more money involved in that league than I could ever imagine. So
Which
yeah,
that brings me on to my next point. Newcastle.
Newcastle.
United. Obviously, everybody's heard the rumors. I assume you have, Aiden. I think I told you about this, the potential takeover by a bunch of Saudi billionaires.
I think that got shot down, though, no?
I believe that
2
got
days
shot
ago.
down.
Yeah, the other day. So
Do you
I
think that
they had
happens
to
now, or
pull
do you
out.
think that's completely dead in the
No,
water?
I think they said it's dead in the water. If I would never say never because sports, but I'm pretty sure I have to say never because I'm pretty sure they officially said it's not they can't do it. There's some financial concern or
It was, I believe they paid some money to get a TV deal or something in Qatar.
yeah, I don't know what the reason
Something
is,
along
but
those lines. I vaguely remember TV in Qatar in the same sentence
I think
when
it's
talking about it, but
yeah, I think it's dead in the water. Just because it's what I read. I could be wrong, but
it's
that's what I
very
read.
interesting because obviously this would be a huge takeover for Newcastle. This would be
Yeah.
a huge takeover for the Prem period. These are some of the richest human beings on the planet.
Yeah.
And obviously they're going to spend like crazy if they do get a team. And yeah, it's just very interesting to see. You've seen the Chelsea take over by a Russian billionaire. You've seen
Man City's
Man City. You've seen Liverpool.
Liverpool's. But I think it's so much harder now because I think the big clubs have established themselves and they can kind of pick off any player you want. And to get quality players, like I think the big one obviously is gonna be Jadon Sancho this summer. That's where all the rumors are gonna lie. And it's 100 million pounds just for one player at least, which is what the rumors were. So we'll see COVID-19 and see maybe it'll go down to 80. But that's a lot of money just for one player. So it's hard to now build a team because of the inflation of the footy market. And yeah, it's very hard to fathom a team like Newcastle, even if you get $300 million, to build a world-class team that could compete because it's just with the money, like you just have to get the right players on the right deals. And even then, if you find a quality player, one of the big teams is going to get them up because that's who can offer them the most money, and that's where all the prestige lies in soccer. So you see like Chelsea, United, Liverpool, that they have their pick of the players, right? If they want someone, they're the team that can go out and get them, and there isn't really much other teams can do once the team has their mind set on a certain player.
So where do you think Jadon Sancho is going to end up? Because obviously the rumors have been swirling.
Yeah.
I know you're very strongly opinionated on this.
I want to say
City
Chelsea, but my logic is, so I think it's Chelsea United. Liverpool, I'm not going to get him for sure, not City, but he's going to go to United or Chelsea. That's the two. Where else could he go? Can't go anywhere else, could he?
He could go City.
Very
easily go City.
He left City. He's not going to go back. So, you have United, you have the prestige. They do have some quality players. Bruno Fernandes now, Pogba, he gets criticism, but on his day, we'll see if he leaves, but you never know. Martial, Rashford. So they do have good players. Ollie, I think I question him a lot, but it's interesting. United, they have their history. They have a lot of glamour tied to their name, and even though I hate them, who wouldn't want to go play for United? But Chelsea, boyhood club, looked up to Lampard growing up. Lampard's the coach. To me, that's a hard. Imagine you getting play for your idol. It's a hard offer to say no to. So that's the only reason I think Chelsea have the edge, because I think it's hard to say no to the guy that you grew up watching and you grew up idolizing. He's the coach. You got to play under him in a team, in a young English team. Sancho is a young Englishman. I just think that's a hard offer to refuse, to be honest. Because I think Chelsea, by the looks of it, are going to be competing again, hopefully pretty soon if they do the right things in the transfer market. Sancho would go a long way to that. So Jadon, if you're listening, I know you're not, but if you are listening, I don't know why you would say no to Chelsea, but Chelsea United, I would understand if you went to United because of the glamour tied to it. But I think, it's hard to turn down your idol, right? Am I wrong? I don't know.
So,
who is your hockey or Aiden? Who's your idol?
In hockey?
Sports idol. Anyone. It's sports idol. Who'd you grow up? I don't.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah,
Derek Jeter was my idol.
Imagine Derek Jeter is the head coach of the Yankees. Would you not want to play for Derek Jeter?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I don't know.
So that's the caliber of this player. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, he's young, but
He's
he's quality. He's
young,
good.
very good, and a little overrated.
A little-
For
That's
being
true.
completely honest here, but yeah, we're sort of running out of time on this call.
Yeah, 3.5.
So after the
Yeah.
break, we're going to dive into. I want you to start thinking about this now.
Yep.
5 players to watch out for when the Prem resumes.
Okay.
And
this year, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
this
you.
year.
Okay.
Got you.
Well, yeah, you can come up with somebody if you want.
I will. I actually will do it.
Hey, you gotta
All
come
right,
up with 5.
so-
Come on, the rule's 5. Come on, you gotta play the game.
5 players to watch out for once play resumes. Who are your 3 teams that you think are going to do really well coming out of the break?
All right.
And will Liverpool win the title? We'll be right back in like half a second.
I'm not going back after that comment. Will Liverpool win the title? No, they're gonna bottle it. They're gonna bottle it, right? How can they? Can they still bottle it? Can they? Yeah.
Maybe. I can't remember if they've clinched or not.
If
But
they lose every single game, maybe.
we'll find out after the break.
We'll find
Peace.
out.
And we're back. We've thought about who we are going to pick, and let me put it this way: it wasn't exactly easy.
Yeah.
Come up with these
tough
names. I didn't realize that. Well, I knew Aiden didn't know anything about the Prem. I didn't realize how much I would have difficulty with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
who wants to? I think we should have Aiden start with his
Yeah.
5 players to watch in the Premier League, and we will inform you over whether or not they are still in the Premier League. Because if you didn't know, the last time he actually paid attention to soccer was 2012. So
Prime.
And
days.
not
Yeah.
not even only through
Hey.
FIFA.
That's when
Yeah.
FIFA was in his prime though, so I don't blame you. That was the prime FIFA day.
Okay.
who are your 5?
So first of all, Mo Salah.
All right.
I believe he's on Liverpool, right?
Yes.
Quality
Liverpool.
wins.
Okay. He's
In
a
fact,
beast.
on Liverpool.
He's a beast. He was a beast in the World Cup, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think he's gonna be good. I feel like I should just go through all mine quickly because I have no analysis whatsoever. So
We'll analyze them for you. That's good. Does that
Sure.
work? Does that work? Yeah. that's
Sure,
good.
sure. I think Sergio Aguero.
Aguero?
He's
Yeah.
still in the league. He's Man City, I believe. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
Aubameyang. He was a beast. He was so fast in FIFA 12.
Where was he playing in 2012? That's what I wanna know.
Dortmund? Yeah, Dortmund. I'm a genius. I know this stuff now.
I definitely didn't tell you this like
Big brain,
a week
yeah.
ago or 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, you might.
This
have, yeah.
definitely isn't all of my information.
True.
He's a quick
But I'll
one,
give you
my
credit. You
man.
did remember it, which is impressive. I figured that would
Thank
just
you,
go in one year at the other. But
Hey, come on, Aiden's pretty smart.
I'm honestly struggling for the last 2. Like, I guess Willian, since Connor kind of mentioned it before.
all right.
I think Willian's a decent one, and I'm trying to think of like some goalie, but I just don't remember any names.
David De Gea, Bernd
De Gea.
Leno.
David
De
De
Gea.
Gea.
Did De Gea used to play on Barca?
No.
Okay. Nope.
He was in Spain
Kepa?
though.
Yeah,
Kepa.
Oh,
Kepa,
Spain.
yeah, they got Kepa from Bilbao. De Gea, I want to think. I'm thinking Atletico, but I know it's not Atletico. No, this is where
I can't
Google
remember
comes
the
in
team.
Was
handy.
it Real Madrid?
No, it was. Just, it can't. It had to be, unless he was like a backup there. David De Gea.
Sorry about the tapping, people.
Yeah, I'm
It
so sorry.
happens when you're
I'm so sorry.
Using a keyboard with a mic.
Yeah, I gotta be
um,
quieter on that one. Bye.
Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Just for
Yeah,
people's ears.
so
We'll
that's-
acknowledge it.
Oh,
That's
Atletico.
my top.
Okay, I
It was
right.
Atletico. Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, I guess
So-
that's my top 5.
You're going De Gea?
Sure.
He was having a great season, so I'll give you that. Those are
Yeah.
honestly
bounce
not the
back.
worst picks in the world. I
Yeah.
was fully expecting you to say guys who left the Premier League 5 years ago. But respect. I'll give you
Thank you.
respect words too.
Thanks.
Those were some good picks.
Yeah. Some yeah. They're So should I go or do you want to
Yeah.
go first, Connor? Yeah.
Up to you.
All right.
You're our guest.
Okay. I'm gonna stay away from Liverpool and City just because they're not really playing for anything unless somehow Liverpool loses every game. So I'm gonna stay away from those teams. So I'll start with I'll do the teams fighting for the Champions League. I'll just do one X factor from the teams fighting for the Champions League. I think that's kind of for phone call. Well, that sucked. Okay, so yeah. So let's start with Leicester, who's in 3rd and are kind of teetering on, the brink of getting knocked out I think the most important player on that team has to be Jamie Vardy. I think it's first and foremost. If Jamie Vardy isn't scoring goals, that team doesn't win. Because defensively, they got Schmeichel in net, pretty good player, pretty good goalie, decent. You got Sonochu, who's been pretty good. You got good fullbacks. You got Chilwell, and you got Pereira. So I think their defense is pretty solid. They're a good unit there. So I think Vardy is the X factor on Leicester if they want to be in the Champions League next year. On fourth place, Chelsea. I think this is an odd one. I was going to say Billy Gilmore just for the laughs, just because he's only played 2 games, but he's been brilliant. But I'll say the X factor for that team is Christian Pulisic. You've seen what he can do. You've seen what he can do in Dortmund. Chelsea fans are growing tired of Willian just because his attitude on the pitch is, it's on and off. It's often lazy, and his goal output has never been above 8. So he always tends to be classified as an overrated player by Chelsea fans, but a player other teams love. I don't know how he got labeled like that, but I'm not a big fan of Willian. I don't think he plays for the badge sometimes. But I will say Pulisic, if he can start scoring from the wing, he's had a few decent performances, the hat-trick against Burnley, but if he can score goals, Chelsea will for sure be in the Champions League next year. That I can promise.
Wow, that's a hot take, I guess.
For United, I guess I have to say Fernandez. I mean, he's changed that team. He's changed the team completely. An X factor would probably be Pogba because he hasn't played for a while. So if Pogba and Fernandez could get I'll do 2 players on United. I'm cheating a little bit, but we've seen what Fernandez can do in his short spell with United, and if Pogba is back healthy and playing well, it's going to be hard to overtake them in the standings, especially because Wolves and Sheffield are chasing him, and they're financially not as strong, and I guess talent-wise not as strong, but they do play with heart. For Wolves, I have to say Adama Traore. He's just lightning. Adama is just a lightning player. If he's scoring, if he's creating havoc for teams, Wolves may have a shot. They may find a way to hop United or Chelsea or Leicester for that matter. So I'll say Adama
Leicester
Traore.
clear. Leicester are 10 points up on Wolves.
On Wolves, yeah. Okay, so the only, I guess, if Leicester would maybe choke it to Chelsea or United, but it's a top 5 this year, right? Because City are banned as of now. And then finally, I'll go with Sheffield United. It's a tough one, but I do have to say their player of the year, it has to be Dean Henderson, because if he doesn't play at the same level, they're not gonna win as many games, and just he's collected a lot of points, right? Just crucial saves, like keep one goal wins, draws, those add up. So if Dean Henderson continues his form, and maybe Billy Sharp pops in here or there, but he's not the X factor. It's got to be Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson got to be their X factor. So I'm looking at him, old Deanie boy, the United loney. If he plays well, they do have a shot to maybe find a way to get in the Champions League next year. Who knows?
All right. My picks are a bit more interesting than that. I haven't focused on standings when it comes to this. I've gone for a combo. First player I have has already been mentioned, Paul Pogba. I think it'll be really interesting to see how he does, especially with the recent rumors of him going back to or to. Has he been at Real Madrid?
No.
I can't remember if he has.
No.
Rumors of him going to Real Madrid. So that'll be really interesting to watch. I want to see if he actually gives a full effort, if he takes it fully seriously, because I think he's the kind of guy who might slack a little bit if he's already got a move lined up. My next player, again, has already been mentioned, Lilian. I had him on because he is a free agent coming up this season, and you've mentioned that he may not necessarily play for the badge. So we'll see if he gives it a full effort given the
Chelsea
circumstances.
fans have been giving him a stick the last 2-3 years. It's not 2015 anymore, Willian. So let's see what he could do. You guys both selected him, so I'm watching him now. I'm watching Willian. Everything you do, I got my eye on you, Willian.
Yeah, and I went with another Chelsea player because I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he does. Pedro.
Pedro, interesting.
Who are you going to guess?
was gonna guess Kepa, to be honest, because I thought you were gonna say like go with like the goal because he's been horrible this year.
I went with Pedro because obviously he's a free agent this summer.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know if he's gonna play because he was barely playing when Pulisic and
That's-
Adoy were
that's-
injured.
That's why I think he's a player to watch.
Player
Because
to
I think it'll
watch.
be really interesting
Yeah.
to see if he actually plays.
If he's on the pitch, watch out for Pedro. He's still quick. He may be in his 30s. He's a quick boy, Pedro.
I think he's
Interesting.
very underrated. I think he's
I think
very good.
He does his job very well. I think he's lost it the last year or two. I think when he first came and just over the year, he's been a great servant to Chelsea. Great player. His attitude's always been spot on, but yeah, I think this year he kind of fell out of favor. I think he's lost a step. But no, if he plays, he still has a lot of quality. He used to play with Messi, so you got to be good if he played with Messi.
Yeah. Another player I think is going to be really interesting to see if he plays. You'd have to be following the Premier League semi-closely in order to have seen this is Troy Deeney.
Interesting.
Troy Deeney has a child, or just recently had a child who had a bunch of health complications.
Yeah,
He's the
asthma, right? Asthma.
I can't remember exactly what it was.
I think it was breathing problems, so that's why the concern was elevated. Yeah.
And he is the captain of Watford. He has stated that he will not play.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not the Premier League allows him to do that, I think is going to be incredibly interesting. Especially with where Watford are in the table right now. They're right on the brink of relegation. They're tied with West Ham and Bournemouth currently. So it'll be really interesting to see whether he's on Watford, correct? I'm not mixing this up.
He's on Watford. Yeah.
He's at Watford. I get Watford and Wolves mixed up because of how similar their badges are.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
But I think it'll be really interesting to see if he plays because obviously not getting relegated is paramount to him and to the club. But at the same time, he does have a child, a newborn child who's struggled with his health or her health.
I don't think the Premier League could force him to play. I think that'd just be wrong. I mean, it should be his choice. I mean, just don't pay him.
I don't think it'll be the Premier League forcing him to. I think it'll be a conflict between him or Watford forcing him to.
Yeah, I don't think they can though. I mean, what are they gonna do? Drag him onto the pitch?
Who knows? I think that's what's really interesting. They could void his contract,
right? They could.
Yeah.
I mean, look, someone else will snap him up. I mean, he's a quality player, Troy Deeney. Like a lower club will easily take him as a striker, their striker or backup. Yeah, it's an interesting situation because I mean, they are in a. It's more important to Watford because the amount of money that they would get from staying up. I mean, Watford go through managers like like nothing. Like they toss managers in the bin, every other month. I mean, they have at least like 3 managers a season. So, yeah, they're an interesting club, Watford, the way they're run. But what are they gonna do? Drag him onto the pitch? I mean, look, if
they may force him to. We don't know.
Yeah,
that's why it's so interesting to me. Whether or not he does get forced to play, and whether or not he does choose to play. Because again, he could still choose to. He could self-isolate from his wife and his child, or his girlfriend and child, and do that. Continue to play. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they still pay him his salary, because obviously he won't be paying, which is why I think it's going to be an interesting part to watch.
It's tough.
My last one is a bit of a controversial one because he doesn't necessarily play very much, and he's on the older side. David Silva. David Silva is also going into free agency pretty soon. He's been rumored to be going to MLS. He's been rumored to be going to many different places. It'll be very interesting to see how he, comes out of the break because obviously he is older. He is not a first option for Manchester City. Yeah. And he is about to become a free agent. And he could be a situation where this could potentially ruin his career. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see if he can come back and whether or not he's still got it after the break and not being able to play games for 3 months in the middle of a season. I just think it's going to be very interesting to see how he does. But I guess that's sort of our top 5 players. I don't really know if there's anything else to add.
But I guess something about Silva. That's an interesting one because I think Pep's gonna give him some more game time because they're not really playing for anything in City at this point. But yeah, just for him individually, what's gonna happen with him? Because I think they want to give Foden minutes too. I think that they're kind of being pressured to give because I mean he's been the next big thing for the next like 3-4 years now, just because there's so much competition on City, he just hasn't been able to break through yet. And this year he's kind of had that opportunity, but not fully. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see because he has loads of options. Pep, right? He has,
Oh yeah.
who could play whoever he wants. But I think because they're playing for nothing, and because of what Silva has meant to the team for I don't know how many of the years it's been now, 7, 8 years now.
Exactly.
But whatever the official number is, yeah, I think just because they're playing for nothing, I think Pep is going to give him minutes. Maybe just stick him with Foden. But that's what I would do if I was playing for nothing. Those are the two players I'd give more minutes because one, you have to see more of Foden to see what he has in his locker, and then you gotta, David Silva deserves some game time for everything he's done for the team. So it's, again, interesting player, and yeah, where's he gonna go after? MLS possibly, back to Spain possibly. Who knows? Yeah, great shout actually. That's an interesting player to watch. Yeah, keep your eye on him. Keep your eye on David Silva.
For context, from anybody who isn't paying attention or doesn't know what soccer Premier League, Manchester City are basically the Tampa Bay Lightning of the Premier League, where they're second best in everything and they're stacked with talent. And this is like their old guy who is a veteran. He's like their Joe Thornton. Who's been there forever. And
man, I was thinking Martin St. Louis when you said
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, you're thinking St. Louis too. Yeah.
Like Cavalier.
Yeah, Vinny. I mean, man, he was like a prime chill, man. Those two. I love using Tampa Bay just because of Vinny and St. Louis. I knew nothing about hockey back in like 2010, but I just knew those two players are just absolute beasts.
They were good.
St. Louis. Hey, I respect St. Louis a lot. He has the heart of a lion, that guy. Martin St. Louis. I know he came up today, but he did. So
yeah.
There you go.
Quickly before we end, I assume this is going to be very, very quick, the Premier League talk, and then we'll jump into MLS, which I don't think we'll get huge into. If you want my take on everything, you can check out the MLS Multiplex podcast. We uploaded one today where we talked about the owner's initial proposal, which then got reverted because everybody just blew up. But we'll get into that in a second, and I'll rant about that in a second. But final question about the Premier League. Do Liverpool win the title?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm all for, saying anything can happen in sports, but I mean, credit to them. They played fantastic all year long. They've been hard to beat. Only one loss to Watford, believe it or not. It feels strange that was the one loss. They've won a lot of games by one goal, but that's the sign of a champion. They win close games. They're tough to beat. Credit to Jurgen Klopp. He's done a fantastic job with the squad. Mane, Salah, Firmino, deadly attacking three. I think the best front three in the world right now, to be honest. Virgil van Dijk, best center back in the world. So they got a lot of talent. They're well coached. They blew everyone away this year. It hasn't been close. So credit to Liverpool. They deserve it. Liverpool fans go enjoy it. It may never happen again for you guys. That's what we all hope. So we'll see. But no, credit to them. It's they deserve it.
If you look closely, you can see a single tear running down Evan's face.
Yeah, just one. Just one.
What place is Chelsea in right now?
We're in 4th. It's been an interesting year because we had a transfer ban last year, so we couldn't sign anyone. We broke some financial rule where we were signing underage kids. It's not what it sounds like, just
okay.
For soccer purposes.
Yeah.
For soccer purposes.
Right.
We signed apparently too many underage kids. So we got banned for it actually got overturned, but we didn't spend any money in January anyway. So basically a full year transfer ban.
I thought it was a 2-year that got turned into a 1 year.
I think it was, but then they got it to like 6 months, but then didn't end up spending in January anyways. They could have. They didn't have any pre-existing, not like Pulisic. Yeah, they didn't do anything in January either, but they did get overturned. For what it's worth.
I think Chelsea are in a very good spot. They got a good young striker in Tammy Abraham. They got a good young winger in Christian Pulisic. Yeah. They got good young
Yeah.
keeper if he stays in Kepa.
I don't know. I don't think
They're-
Kepa's that good, to be honest. I think Kepa's pretty
They're in a good spot, I think,
pretty
is
bad, but
fair assumption to say.
yeah, it's gonna be. You know what? Next year is gonna be interesting. The Premier League is gonna be interesting next year. Whoever wins Sancho, I mean, look, there's gonna be a lot of debate next year of what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a lot of fun. If there's any year to get in the Premier League, it's gonna be hopefully a closer title race next year. So anyone that wants to get into soccer, Aiden, or anyone else listening, next year for the Premier League, maybe the year, because there's gonna be a lot of good games. That I can promise you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, we have to address the one league that neither of you follow.
Evan, you don't follow
MLS.
this league? You don't follow MLS?
Well, I follow the MLS. What's kind
You
of
follow MLS?
I follow MLS.
I didn't know you followed MLS.
I follow TFC. Yeah. That's a stretch. Maybe say to follow the MLS is a bit of a stretch, but I mean,
You follow them like I follow the Bundesliga, which isn't very close.
Yeah, there you go. There you
That
go. I follow them very from a distance. From a distance, I follow them.
Yeah. So, MLS had a vote, or the players had a vote last night and this morning over whether or not to ratify the new agreement with the league to resume play in a tournament style in Orlando, which was very controversial. The owners and league proposed over the weekend a final offer threatening to lock out the players with a force majeure clause, which is a clause that the NBA has where depending if like a pandemic or something like this happens, the season they can wipe that CBA clean. It can just be ignored. And the MLS included a asterisk to the force majeure where the players could do it. I think whenever some sort of massive event happens, and the league could do it if 5 teams' attendance dipped by 25%. So that was one of the big controversies, and there was also an issue about how they were going to divvy up media money.
They seem to be prepared for everything. The MLS, a pandemic clause. That's interesting.
That was being inputted now.
Oh, okay. So they weren't prepared. Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, this wasn't prepared
I was
yet.
gonna say, there's no way the MLS had that clause.
The force majeure makes sense on the player's behalf.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense on the owner's behalf, which I think is what was very interesting and very controversial because this came out of nowhere. This was also a change to the CBA, which had already been agreed upon back in January.
Damn.
Or maybe early February, mid-February.
Okay.
So they made changes to the CBA because the owners took advantage of the current pandemic and the players' financial position because if you don't follow MLS, not everybody makes a ton of money. The minimum salary in MLS, I think, is $54,000
Wow.
per season.
Well, you can live off that, you know. If you're a bench player,
You can live off that now.
the minimum,
The issue is that's supposed to last you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's
When you think about these athletes will play for 10, 15 years, that money needs to last for the rest of their life. That's why I think it makes sense that some athletes make a ton of money because it needs to last them forever. Doctors make less money in the now, but they can earn money until they're 75 years old if they want.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't earn money playing hockey or soccer until you're 75, unless you're a manager, and the salaries for that are still lower.
Yeah. Not if you're Mike Babcock. Mike Babcock was making bank.
We're gonna stay very clear of that.
Stay away from him, but he was making bank before it all went.
He still is.
He's still making good money, but I mean, yeah, he's 60, so he's retired. He's happy. He has to laugh it off. Not a good person, but I don't think he really cares.
We'll get back to MLS.
Yeah, off topic a little bit.
Stay far clear from Mike Babcock.
I've gone you boys off topic at least like 10 times today. So
it's all good. It makes a better conversation.
That's the name of the episode. Off topic.
Off topic. There you go. Off topic with Evan Rootenberg.
There you go. I love it.
But they ratified this new CBA, which is notable because the other one had just been agreed upon. Now it's ratified. So this CBA is going until 2025, which has also been extended a year, which very positive if you're an MLS fan because it means we're going to have MLS until at least 2025 when that's the year before an Olympics or World Cup in North America. Why did they choose that? I just realized that. That is so stupid.
They have a World Cup in Qatar too, so I mean, I think
Yeah,
that's
in
worse.
2022.
I mean, that was a lot worse because the conditions aren't great there. It's gonna be hot, at least in North America. The
They're
U.S.
playing it in the winter. It's that hot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, Sepp Blatter and his corruption, which led to that. But
Look, we could do an entire episode on FIFA corruption.
I think we should. I think
and
that's a
we're
great
not going to do that because
That'd be a great idea. Yeah, no, but
that requires a ton of research.
that does. Oh.
But yeah, that CBA got ratified, which is very notable. The return to play got agreed upon, which is even more notable because it means the players are going back. But what I found most interesting was a little line that was sort of hidden in the Athletics article and then mentioned later by, I believe it was Maxime Crepeau, Vancouver Whitecaps. He's the keeper. Canadian international. He's played for the Canadian men's national team. Once Milan Borjan retires, he'll be probably our number one.
Milan Borjan, yeah.
It's been stated that right now the idea is after this little mini tournament is completed, where the players will have financial incentives and the team will have financial incentives, they will finish the regular season with a 16-game regular season. But they'll travel. So each team will play in their home market. That's notable because you have 3 teams in Canada. You have the Montreal Impact, the Vancouver Whitecaps, and the Toronto FC.
Yeah.
And right now, as we mentioned earlier with the baseball stuff, there's a 14-day quarantine period. And until that gets removed, they won't be able to come to Canada to play games. So what does that mean for Toronto FC? What does that mean for Montreal Impact? What does that mean for the Vancouver Whitecaps? Does it mean that we're going to have to move them to the U.S.? Because let's be honest, they're not going to be very happy with that. Does it mean that the Canadian government's going to have to waive that?
Yeah, I mean, they probably could, right? Just for the teams. I mean, I think they would
They're
be
pretty
able
strict
to
right now.
They're very strict with it, and
I mean, I keep forgetting it's June, to be honest, because I feel like it was like March. I mean, a day ago, but yeah, like with MLS is supposed to start in March too. So yeah, they're gonna be forced to have a shortened season because unlike baseball, you can't play every day.
MLS have already every team's played 2 games. It's even playing field right now. So this going into this tournament, it's going to be nothing. It's going to be based on, I think they're aiming to have, I thought I saw a rumor of $1 million prize pool. And then as well as they're going to do a ton of stuff charity-wise, financially contributing to the winning teams or the teams that do well in that city. So if Toronto FC win this tournament, then they'll get a bunch of assets for local charities. But again, this still needs to be agreed upon. They've agreed to return to play, but just like the NHL, we don't exactly know how this is still going to work.
Yeah.
We don't know when it's going to start. We don't know where it's going to be. We know it's going to be Orlando, but we don't even know what hotel they're staying at yet because they're playing in the same place as the NBA.
Yeah,
and the NBA is massive and has priority.
Massive, yeah. Yeah, that's true. MLS is interesting how they're going to if they resume, because I think they're in the toughest position right now because you said they played 2 games. I thought that was preseason. I wasn't aware the season started yet.
Yeah, those were 2 league games. They play preseason earlier, but they don't play at home. So all Toronto FC preseason games are in, I want to say either LA or Vegas.
Probably, yeah, sounds right.
Because obviously it's too cold in January and early February to be playing soccer games outdoors in Toronto. But it's going to be really interesting to see how MLS adapts to this because if they can get back to play, and there's precedent to getting back to play when you look at the Bundesliga and Serie A and La Liga and every other major European league, they have come back. And there's precedent there. They know how to do it. They just got to figure out when to do it and how to do it.
I'll give you my final thought on the MLS. They're in the toughest position because they're one of the smaller leagues, and you need rest time between games, at least 3 days. So you're not going to be able to play a full season. That's a guarantee. But I mean, it comes down to how many games can you fit in. Will you end up playing, and if so, how are you gonna work the playoffs? Because those are all gonna be not skewed, but it's gonna be altered this year. So Yeah, they have a lot to figure out, and there's a lot of unknowns. So I don't want to comment on how I think they should, because I think there's a lot of unknown with MLS, and it's up to them. You know what? I give them the choice. I'm not going to give them any opinions, but they can do what they see fit. But yeah, having 3 Canadian teams doesn't make it easier, because it's going to make the travel ban a little bit harder to kind of execute and get around, to say the least. So yeah. It's going to be tough for the MLS to figure it out. But they got a lot of smart people working there, I'm sure.
Well, sure.
I'll assume
Sure.
I'll assume that they have a lot of bright minds working on the plans. So.
That's.
I hope
Don't
for
know
your
about
sake,
that one, folks.
Connor, for your sake, I hope, because you're giving me the impression that there's a lot of unintelligent.
It's not fantastic. Let's put it that way.
So
but
there you go.
If you want more in-depth soccer coverage, especially my opinion, check out the MLS Multiplex podcast. We had another MLS Multiplex contributor, Ivan Ornelas, join us on Monday with talks a little bit out of date now that this whole CBA stuff's been ratified, but we talked that. Really good episode. We'll be back again next week. Check out the MLS Multiplex network. With that, we have less than 5 minutes left on the Zoom call. And we still have to do one thing. Evan, do you know what that one thing is?
No, I don't.
All right.
I thought about it. I have no idea.
So on this podcast, we have a recurring segment called Hot Takes, where at the end of every episode, we give a hot take. Some are hotter than others. Some are incredibly incorrect, like mine last week. I said last week that the MLB would be the first league to come back. And that was a swing and a miss, folks.
Swing and a miss.
Hey.
But yeah, so every week we do a regular segment, Hot Takes, where we give a hot take on something in the sports world. And you got to give a hot take. Aiden, have either of you thought about this? I know, Evan, you haven't thought about this. Aiden, have you thought about it?
Yeah. I knew it was going to be mostly soccer talk, so I wanted to have something prepared today at least.
You go first, because we need to think of ours, as usual.
I'll go back to baseball and what I mentioned about the divisions, and there's going to be 3 divisions, 10 teams in each. So it's going to be really interesting. You know, obviously some divisions got a lot tougher than others. So it's going to be a lot tougher for those teams that could have easily won their division. You know, now they have that number 1 team from another division coming in, trying to take that spot away from them. I think this is a pretty big hot take, because a lot of people are saying that, you know, they're the favorites to win the World Series this year, and that's the New York Yankees. But there's another team that just entered their division that I think is going to finish ahead of them in that East division, I guess you could call it. Not the Washington Nationals, not the Atlanta Braves, but I'm going to say the New York Mets finish ahead of the New York Yankees in the standings.
That's bold.
And just going to point out, you know, one reason why is because the Mets have a really good rotation. They have Marcus Stroman, Noah Syndergaard, Jacob deGrom, Steven Matz. They also added Michael Wacha and Rick Porcello. That's 6 guys right there who are really good starters in the MLB. And especially with a shortened season, you know, you need those pitchers. You need that depth at starting pitcher. They also added Dylan Betances, a former New York Yankee.
That's going to come in. Yeah.
So I do think that the Mets are going to give the Yankees a bit of a challenge. 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I'll go quick then. Football. I mentioned I'm a Cowboys fan. No more Jason Garrett. That means the Cowboys are going to easily win the division. The Eagles don't have a shot this year, but they will make at least the NFC Championship game, at the very least. Jason Garrett held that team back for years. Cowboys are going to be back this year, and at the very least, the NFC Championship game.
Nice. Very hot.
Watch out. Don't care who the QB is. I don't. NFC Championship.
All right, my hot take. My hot take is that MLS will be the first league to come back, even though they only agreed to their CBA and format today.
Interesting. Yeah. You know what? If you're right, I'll come back, and you know, I don't know.
We'll see. So far, my predictions of who's going to come back first have been woefully bad.
Hey, someone's got to come back.
But I'm going to keep trying.
Someone's got to come back.
At this point, I'm just going to say every competitive league over and over. So
Yeah.
next week's going to be NHL. Week after that, NBA. But with that, thank you very much for listening. Evan, do you have anything you want to shout out very quickly before we
No,
fully
just
wrap?
listen to the podcast. Keep listening. The boys are doing great work. So yeah, let's keep it going. And I was happy to be here today, guys. You guys are
Thanks, man.
fantastic. So
Thanks
you
for
know,
coming
Thank
on,
you.
buddy.
Thank you
Boris,
so much for coming
Keep
on.
it going. Check it out. Let's go. Let's roll. Let's see whose hot take's right. That's all I'll say. We'll see. You know, we're probably all wrong, but you know, that's why it's a hot take. Hopefully, one of us is right.
Thank you for joining. I've been Connor Somerville. As always, I got Aiden Silphant with me. Next week, we'll be back with hopefully another guest. Thank you for listening. Black Lives Matter, and we'll see you next week.